So good morning. Yesterday I did a series of videos, introduction, and showed you my very first hive. And after that, I was busy in the bee yard, in the apiary, um, converting these the double nooks from the large NB, the Nodge Botanati frame, because I had split off this big hive here, right there. I had split that off into 6 other hives, into these double nooks and one half NB hive. And so I needed to get those into or convert them to half NB hives. That way I could remove the tops to do inspections and also do splits come springtime. So that's what I'm preparing for now. So yesterday I went through and I took those frames out. Got the bees really upset on these hives. Of course, they lost a bunch of their stores because most of those frames were full of nectar. So I put them into this big hive here, and today I'm going to cut that comb out, and I'm going to take some of it for myself because it's capped on the top half of nearly all the frames. The bottom, lots of nectar. There's going to be some that's capped. There's going to be pollen in there that I'm going to give to these hives that I took from yesterday, so that way I can kind of boost them back up and get them going. And then next week I actually would be putting feeders on, so I have to make some different top covers to be able to do individual feeders on these. So that was my next step. So I will open this up and show you guys, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to use so I'm going to use some rubber gloves today instead of the trusted gloves, because there's going to be honey everywhere. Nectar everywhere. So I say honey a lot. It's nectar gets converted into honey. I just use those words interchangeably. And I had brought up yesterday that in my one hive, I put in a frame of foundation only to get that started, and I told you that I do foundationless framing. The reason why I put that frame of foundation in is because it actually came another hive that I inspected earlier in the day, and they had already started drawing that out. So it was about 10% drawn out. This allows them to draw that out quickly because there's so much nectar in that hive, and the queen, my fear was she's going to get honey bound again, even in that smaller hive, because the nectar flow is just so good even right now. So I put that in there to help them draw it out, because I am feeding that hive as well to get them to draw out the comb. Even though I don't need to, they suck that sugar syrup down every day. So it's I think it's 1.5 liters or maybe 2 liters, and yeah, I think it's 1.5 liters, and they suck that out and draw out the comb extremely fast. So I'm gonna open up this hive here, and I won't go through everything, but I'll just kind of show what I'm going to be doing, how I'm going to cut that out and convert it over. So I have these half NB frames, and what I do is I drill a hole right where these are used frames. So I drill a hole on the each side, and then one in the center on the bottom. And when I cut the comb, I'm going to cut it so it fits in here pretty snugly, and then I'm going to put just a couple of nails, and that'll lock it in. And the bees, as soon as they reach where that nail is, they're going to draw around that with wax and propolis. And then I did one with a Langstroth strip, because I have the easy nooks, or at least one of the easy nook that, and then the original swarm trap that made out of particle board, that I'm going to put this in with drawn comb, just to give them, or with the nectar comb, just to give them extra food and a place for the queen to lay, because they'll eat that nectar out of there pretty quick, as many bees that are in there. And then I will take this off, and then I just have it screwed in, and I can unscrew that and put this into another frame, and maybe even get one more split. So I would like to actually do 5 more hive splits before mid-August, so in the next 2 weeks. So just depends on brood production of these other hives. You know, I haven't opened up some of the other hives to show you, but there's some that are just going crazy. They're almost overflowing. And from my experience last year, I was able to split a hive, have them produce a queen by the end of August, and the 2 hives that I had going into winter last year both survived. 0 mite treatment, no foundation. The foundation that I had been given was for supers that were actually not even used for the half NB frames. So this has got a lot of bees on here right now, so I got to shake it a little vigorously. I don't like shaking too hard. Okay, so this is the first hive that I went into in my introduction video. So the first frame, of course, is empty, and then I packed this full, and I'll just kind of show you a few, and then I'll start cutting it off. These bees will get kind of angry, I think, in a few minutes here. They're pretty peaceful right now. So you see it's capped a little bit here, and on this side it's capped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom 2/3. So basically I'm going to just set a frame like this, and then I'm taking this here because I would like some fresh honey today. So and there's, all my other hives have so much that I'm leaving for them, plus I'm going to be feeding them like crazy. So this is my first year, of course, having honey, so I'm going to enjoy it. Okay, so, and we're going to kind of slide this over, get a couple of the bees, or many of the bees to kind of move back in towards the center of the hive. And I'm just going to kind of separate 2 frames for now. And I can already see there are some foragers running around in here. You can kind of tell they're the real excited ones. So you can see that there. So this is an old dark comb that I talked about yesterday. So this is one that I have no problem cutting it out. You can kind of see, actually, there was a queen cell. This came out of one of the other double nooks. They still had 1 queen cell in there. There's a lot of bees around it. So I suspect that they were either holding her in, not allowing her to hatch. So I had another hive that needed a queen, so I cut that out and I put it in. And I'm going to check that in a little bit and just see. You know, sometimes they hatch within a few hours. Sometimes they don't even make it. So they were just trying to kind of high hopes for the queen to emerge. So so we'll see. All right, so I'll take 1 frame here, and this is kind of slow, so I apologize, but you can always fast forward, right? That's what I do when I watch YouTube. So I'm gonna kind of try to do this so you guys can see actually what I'm doing. Usually I'll lay these down, but we'll see how this goes. And so what I'm going to do is there's wire in here that holds basically kind of helps support everything. And so I'm going to cut with this knife the top side, and then I'll cut with the bottom. Actually, I'm going to score a mark of the comb here across, and that way when I cut and you hear some of the comb dropping down in there, the little bits and pieces. It kind of sucks because bees work really hard to build this. And then I'm gonna just score across. And there will be a lot of foragers, a lot of robbers, I mean. They're going to be probably coming after this hive. So afterwards, I'm going to lock it down to a single 2 centimeter wide entrance. And then I just need to grab, and you can see honey coming out. If I didn't have gloves on, I would be, or I didn't have my veil on, I'd probably be enjoying some of that right now. So we just cut that wire, and some of the wire actually, they didn't even get it in there, so that's actually good. Makes it a little easier. So I can just kind of maybe even pull it off. So I'm going to try to salvage. And who I got this original hive from with these frames, sometimes they would do up and down and across with the support wire, which makes it really difficult sometimes to work with, because you go through a lot of knife blades that get damaged or dull very, very quickly. So now I'm going to lay this down, and unfortunately you won't be able to see this, but I'll show the